everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I have a little bit of a different unboxing for you. So I'm actually going to be unboxing some grow lights. I was reached out to by a company, Spider Farmer. They sell some grow lights. They wanted to send me a grow light to review and share with you guys. So in full disclosure, I did receive this product for free, and thank you so much, Spider Farmer, for sharing your product with me. But just know that every single opinion that I'm sharing with you guys, every reaction is completely my own. I would never want to mislead you guys or share something that wasn't true. So everything that you see in this video will be my own opinions and my own thoughts. So let's go ahead and get into the unboxing. We'll see what comes in the box, get it all set up, and then we can move on to testing out the product. So as usual, I have taken a pair of scissors, opened up the box so you don't have to sit through all of that, but I have not yet looked inside, so everything is, you're experiencing it all with me. Let's go ahead and get into this. The first thing I do notice is it is packaged really, really well, which I would hope and expect from some grow lights, right? There are some breakable parts in here. Everything is really well packaged in here. Let's see if we can get it to slide out. All right, so inside we actually have a little thank you note, which I think is so sweet, a little note on here. And then the user manual, we'll crack into this in a second, but let's see what actually comes in the box first. All right. So what I am seeing in here is the actual grow light itself, which you can see is a nice big panel. It looks like an actually pretty decent length of cord here. We'll open that up and check it out as we get into the setup. It's got some hangers so that we can go ahead and hang all of this. It came with some little plant labels, which I think are so cute. Maybe I'll use these to label some of my Hoyas. And it came with a measuring tape, I'm assuming, so that I can measure some of the growth and measure actually that location that I'm going to put it in. So I'm also really excited about that. All right, so here's a look at the actual LED panel. It does look like it comes with a full spectrum of light, which is really, really nice. We'll turn it on and see kind of how it looks in the environment. A couple more things I wanted to share with you. It does come with a limited warranty. It looks like for those first few days, if anything doesn't work, they will go ahead and replace it. And then for the next couple of years following that, all of the parts and everything are still under warranty, and they'll send you those parts to repair. I'll link to the product down below so that you can check out a little bit more completely what the warranty does look like. A few more things that I thought were really, really intriguing about it is it's not a full fan cooling system. So it's supposed to run really, really quiet, keep itself kind of, because of the LED lights, keep itself a little bit more on the cool side. And it's supposed to have a really low energy draw. So I'm really intrigued by all of these things and I'm really excited to try it out. So let's go ahead and find a spot and get it all set up, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the whole setup process. All right, so I went ahead and got the light all set up. I'll explain a little bit of how I got it all set up here and get into a little bit of the pros and cons before we turn it on and get into testing it. Okay, so a little bit of the setup. I actually have it set up on the bottom shelf of my plant shelf here. It is in my brightest room, but this was kind of the most convenient spot that I could get it set up without quite yet permanently altering my house. I'm not quite ready to start drilling holes in the wall or attaching it to a shelf permanently. So this was the best way that I could get it set up temporarily to test it out, see if I even like it before I go drilling holes in my walls. So you can see it comes with a way to kind of clip on here, and then some wire, and I'll try to get under there and show you. So it is attached on both sides, and then that wire actually comes around here and attaches to another clip. And then there is an adjustable thing, a little lever you can pull here to tighten or loosen up the rope tension. And then I just have that rope wrapped around kind of hanging on this shelf here, but you could theoretically add that to a hook or any other thing that you wanted to hang it from a bar. This just happened to be the way that I felt like it would set up. Like I said, I didn't want a permanent setup quite yet. And then I do have it pulled quite tight so that it is right near the top of the shelf. That was about as close as I could get it. So that is one con. I would like to have it a little tiny bit closer because you can see there's not a huge space there. That's probably almost 2 feet. I know you want the grow lights kind of close, but I would have preferred a little tiny bit more space maybe so I could stick some bigger plants in there. And then you can see the setup is exactly the same up around this side. So a little bit about the pros and cons so far, just as far as the setting up went. The setup is really, really easy. If I had wanted to go ahead and hang it on a bar or some existing hooks, I think that would have been really, really easy. My biggest struggle was finding a spot that I actually wanted to set it up. Like I said, I wasn't quite ready to commit to permanently attaching a grow light to anything. So like I said, that was a little bit of a struggle finding somewhere where I wasn't permanently altering my house quite yet. I would have preferred maybe something that was a little more all-inclusive. If I was shopping for one on my own, I probably would have looked for something that had a built-in stand or a way to just kind of set it somewhere without having to actually go to all this trouble of hanging it. But that's just personal preference. Like I said, this might be great if you already have something that you know you would like to hang it on. Another one of the cons I found is just the amount of space that it takes up. Again, I'm just starting out here with the grow lights. I'm a home houseplant grower. I'm not looking to grow mass amounts of anything. So again, that's kind of personal preference. But for me, I found that it was a little bit difficult to find a space that I wanted to set this up in, as opposed to maybe if I had bought a single bulb or a smaller setup, it might have been easier to just focus that light on some individual plants. All right, so let's go ahead and get this plugged in and I'll show you kind of how bright the lights are and we can start testing out, maybe move some plants down here. So as you can see, it's got some really, really nice bright light. Try to get a little bit of that panel there for you. So as you can see, it does have more of the full spectrum of light, which I really like. I like that it has that kind of bright white warm light as opposed to maybe some of the more magenta or pink that actually look like the grow lights. I actually much prefer to have something that looks a little bit more like daylight. So let me grab a few plants to put under here and I will show you my final setup. All right, so here is my final setup. I grabbed a bunch of different varieties of Hoyas to stick under here, see how they'll do underneath the grow light. So I have my Hoya Sunrise. Back in the back, I have my Hoya Shepherd Eye. I actually have my Crimson Princess. It's been kind of sitting in a spot where I was neglecting to get it enough light. So I thought I'd give it a quick charge, see if I can get a little bit of new growth, and then maybe move it back. In the back, I have my Crimson Queen, which is just starting to put on a little bit of growth. I've had this cutting for a while. So again, I'd like to see if I can force a little bit more new growth. And then my Hoya Sweet Scent, which again is a little bit newer, just transferred the cutting into the semi-hydroponics. So maybe playing a little bit with how they do in the semi-hydro underneath the grow light. So if those change at all or they're not doing well underneath those lights, I will kind of give you a couple of updates. Hopefully I will keep an eye on these over the next couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, and let you know how they're going growing underneath the grow lights. So how I plan on using the grow light actually is to just supplement a couple hours a day here to start. One of the cons that I personally found with this is that there's not really a timer function. I know that's something you can set up with some extra pieces, but that's not really what I want to be doing at this exact moment. So I think I'm just going to plug it in to supplement light either on kind of some cloudy days or maybe in the evenings. Just when I'm home, I'm not really comfortable letting this be on all day while I'm gone quite yet.
So maybe 1 to 2 hours of supplemental light, see how they do. Like I said, this is actually one of my sunniest rooms. You can see all the sun streaming in there. So it doesn't really need the grow lights, but I wanted to try it out again before I start to commit to maybe a more intense setup. I wanted to give this a try. So that's kind of my setup. Okay, so here I am checking in. It's been about 2 weeks since I've put this grow light in. You can see I still have pretty much the same group of Hoyas here. I've been running it for maybe about an hour or two a day. It depends on the day. If it's been a really sunny day, I might just plug it in for an hour or two at the end of the day. And if it's a cloudy day like it is today, I might let it run a little bit through the day and then into the evening, just so I'm not overwhelming the plants. So you can see some of these have some little baby leaves. Some of that growth was there already before I put them underneath the grow lights. And a little bit of growth back there you can see on my shepherd eye. This little guy that's coming out right there. So like I said, nothing really to share. I haven't really noticed a big change with my Crimson Princess. I was hoping a little more light would maybe force a little bit more growth, but I think she has a little recovering to do first. So yeah, nothing really big to share here. Just wanted to do a check-in here at about 2 weeks, and I'll do another check-in maybe after another week or two. And if I notice any changes, I will definitely check in sooner than that.
Okay, so I'm going to do my final check-in with my grow light and let you know how it's going. I did want to show you from a little bit of a distance how bright that light actually is. This fills the room, and it is fairly dark outside. You can see there's a little snowstorm moving in. So it really does actually light up the room pretty well. So I'll bring you in a little bit closer and we'll look and see how much progress we have at 4 weeks. Okay, so I'm checking in. It's been about 4 weeks since I've installed the grow light, and I wanted to do kind of a final check-in, final thoughts with you guys. So one thing you'll notice right away, I did go ahead and move my Crimson Princess. I'll show you, I have it right down here. It's actually sitting on another shelf, but it was starting to get a little bit sunburnt in some spots, and some of the leaves were starting to turn a little bit yellow. So I figured it was getting kind of overwhelmed with the amount of light, and that makes sense with some of this variegation. So I wanted to pull her back and move her out of that light. So let's check in with the rest of the plants that are here. My Hoya Sunrise, you can see that little baby leaf that was starting to come in is still pushing its way out. I haven't really noticed any change in the color in the leaves yet, but I'm wondering as I push out more new growth if that kind of sunrise color will come through. In the back we have my shepherd eye. Again, nothing really great to report. It is pushing out a little tiny bit of new growth in some places, but nothing crazy. It's not like putting it under the grow light all of a sudden made it push out a ton of new growth. So I think it's just continuing to put down some roots, and hopefully over the next growing season I can get it to put on some more growth. Here we have my Hoya Sweet Scent, and this one actually has put on a lot of new growth. You can see right there, hopefully you can see that little bit. A couple more leaves will come, and hopefully actually a little bit more growth along the stem as well. So that one's doing really nicely under the grow light. And then we have my Crimson Queen in the back. Again, nothing really significant to report. You can see there's a little bit of pink on those leaves there. It has put on 1 or 2 new little baby leaves, but again, nothing really significant to report. Now, it's still important to note that this is in my brightest room. It is not in a dark location, so I don't know that the grow light has made all that much of a difference for them. And again, I'm only running it for maybe an hour or two when I get home from work. That first part of the evening, or again on a day like today, it's been on for a couple of hours now to kind of accommodate for all that gray outside. But I don't know that these plants here in this room really need it. So like I said, it has been running for a couple hours, and I did want to point out one thing that I really do like about this light is I can actually put my hand here on the back of this after it's been running for a couple hours. Now, I wouldn't want to hold it there for a significant amount of time,
but it is not overly hot. It's not like I'm going to burn myself. If my dog or something accidentally touched it, I wouldn't be terribly worried about it being overly hot. So I do really like that feature. So I will pull back from the plants, I will get in front of my camera, and I will share with you guys some of my final thoughts on this grow light. All right, so I'm back for a little bit of a final check-in, a final summary about how I felt about the Spider Farmer grow light. So a list of some kind of pros and cons, and these are all things that are pros or cons to me in particular, not necessarily pros or cons for everybody. Overall, I really did enjoy the light. I felt like it worked well. It did what it said. It was a great piece of equipment, and I probably would feel comfortable running it for a little bit longer. So if you're somebody that wants to run it for 4 or 5 or 6 hours out of your day, I totally think it would run smoothly, that it wouldn't get overly hot. So I do think it's a very quality piece of equipment. That being said, the biggest con for me personally was just the amount of space that it took up and trying to find a place to hang it or to install it. Now, if you already, like I said, have a bar or some hooks or a place that you know you would already like to hang it, I don't think that that would be a problem for you. I think that the installation is super easy. But for me, in my house, I do think that something that was a little bit smaller that came with a stand would be a little bit easier to just integrate and get right into running in my own household. The flip side of that is that it is nice and big. So if you want to have a space where you are putting multiple plants underneath one grow light, or you need to cover a larger sort of area, maybe you want a little bit of a nursery or a place to kind of propagate or heal plants that have just come into your house, I think it's a wonderful option for you. It does cover a big amount of space, and you could put multiple cuttings or multiple baby plants underneath there without having to worry about having an individual grow light for each thing. As far as the results from it, like I said, I didn't see any crazy amount of growth. A couple things. One, it is the off season, it is winter time, so these plants may not want to put on a lot of growth anyway. And two, like I said, this room already gets a ton of bright indirect light, so supplementing that with another hour or two of sunlight may not be putting on lots of growth, and maybe it's something that I'm just not seeing a lot of that progress yet. I will definitely keep the light there and run it again a couple hours a day as I'm home in the evenings, maybe on these cloudy days, and let you know if that progress kind of accumulates over time, that maybe I'm seeing more of a difference at the 6-week or the 8-week mark rather than at the 2 and the 4. One other pro that I did find was that it runs nice and cool, and that I'm not worried about it accidentally coming in contact with anything or with my dog coming in contact with it, or if I brush up against it. It is running, again, it's got some warmth to it, but it's not running so hot that I'm afraid of touching it at all. Again, I didn't notice a significant draw on power in my house. I didn't notice that my bill went up significantly, and this is December, so I do have other things, Christmas lights and things that are also drawing on my bill, but I didn't notice that it brought it up significantly over the past couple years. Again, I'm only running it for a couple of hours, but I don't think if you were somebody that ran it for 4 or 5 hours out of your day, that it would really impact your electricity bill that much. I didn't notice a spike from using it regularly. Like I said, it was an hour or two, but it was pretty much every single day. And those kinds of things can add up on your power bill. So I didn't notice a huge draw. So if you're running that for a significant amount of time, or you want to put in a couple in an area and really grow significant amounts of something, then that's totally fine. I think it's not going to make a huge impact on your electricity bill. So a couple of things I did learn through this process. Like I said, this is my first time using a grow light, and some of these are things that I just learned that I would personally prefer, not necessarily a reflection on this particular product. This product just does a great job at what it's meant to do, for sure. But I would prefer something, again, maybe a little bit smaller, a little bit more specific to an individual plant or an individual space, because I do have some darker spots in my house, but this light wasn't necessarily a great fit for those particular areas. 2, I would love to have a timer So being able to just set it to come on for a couple of hours in evenings, or maybe even if it's a cloudy day, if there was like a light sensor when it dips below a certain amount of light, that it comes on for a little while. Again, I know that's something I could set up with a little extra piece of electronics, but it would be really, really great. I would be willing to spend more on a product if it did have that timer or that ability already built in. So one thing I really did love about this particular grow light was that full spectrum of light, that bright, warm white light. As you could see, it was really nice and strong. I felt like it filled kind of a 10 by 10 bedroom with a significant amount of light. Now that light's not necessarily transferring over to other plants, but I would feel like I could hang out in that room. I could maybe turn on a little lamp if I wanted to read. And I felt like it was this really nice, it felt like part of my home, if that makes sense, instead of this bright magenta light that's something that's so foreign that I need other lights in my room. Overall, I would recommend this product. I do think it works really, really well for what it is meant to do. I would encourage you to check out the specs. I have it linked down below and see if it's a fit for what you want it for your particular home. Like I said, for my particular home, maybe there's some other products out there that are better fit for my particular needs. But if this light fits what you are looking for, like I said, if you're wanting a little propagation area, or maybe you're looking to grow some vegetables or something in the home and you need a larger amount of light and you have that space to set it up, you have an idea of where you'd like to put it, I think it's a super product. I think it was super easy to set up, not a lot of fussing around. And I think it's something that would be very useful for you and that would work well for you for months and years to come. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this little experiment with a grow light. Thank you, Spider Farmer, for sending this grow light to me so that I could play around with it. I really did enjoy the process of learning a little bit about grow lights along the way. If you're interested in more content about grow lights, or maybe specifically more about how different Hoyas react under the grow lights, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to do some more content revolving around this particular light, or maybe even other grow lights in the future. So just let me know that that kind of content is of interest to you, and I'll be happy to produce a little bit of that content. Thank you guys again so much for watching today's video. If you're not already, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and like this video, letting me know that you enjoyed some of this content. And I will see you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye.